Most marketers don't realize this yet, but you're not optimizing campaigns anymore. You're training a model. Every input you provide, creative, copy, audience targeting, even your product page structure, is becoming a part of how the system learns what your product is, who it's for, and when it should be shown. And this shift isn't just happening in search, which we've been talking about a lot lately. It's already embedded in the ads that you're buying. The old school platforms used to let you declare intent, and they took your input and they ran a few variations, but it was basically optimization, mostly statistical guesswork. But today's platforms, they're not guessing, they're interpreting. You upload videos and they analyze scenes, tone, emotional framing. You write headlines and they parse structure, positioning, even subtext. You link to your product and they can scan your page and extract offer clarity, user benefit, pricing cues. This is the difference between rule based targeting and model based reasoning. You're no longer just setting the parameters, you're feeding the system training data. So, yes, these are not the most intelligent agents ever. There's just an Apple article about it. They don't truly understand your product in a human sense. They're still statistical models, but they're far more advanced than rule based engines that we've had in the past. And while you might not be working with a genius, it's still a system that you're investing real money, content, and user experience into. And that means you can't afford to learn how it learns. So, when you run a campaign on Google Performance Max or Meta Advantage Plus, the model builds its own understanding of your product and it makes inferences about audience fit, use case, value prop, and shows your ads based on that. You're not choosing your audience, you're teaching the model how to choose one for you. So, what does this mean for product marketing? Product marketers now have a different drive. Instead of briefing a human, you're briefing an AI. And you have to think of your product marketing content as training data. So, product descriptions are how you're labeling your offer to the model. Your landing page structure is giving contextual signals for category and use case. And your ad creative is a few shot examples for who it's for and how it's used and what the user should feel. Because these platforms continuously retrain, every campaign trains the next one. Ads are a feedback, basically. They're not just a tactic. If your ad platform isn't working, it might not be just your bid strategy, or it might not be your bid strategy at all. It might be that the model has misunderstood you. So you need to ask yourself, if your product page is semantically clear, does your ad clearly show user benefit in the first 3 seconds? Is your creative consistent with what your site and your organic content say? That consistency is really key. Also, are your headlines training the model on emotion, audience, and use case? So consistency again and clarity matter more than ever because in the era of LLM native ads, you're not just launching a campaign, you're calibrating a system. This is why product marketing again is one of the most critical functions in the AI area. You're not just telling stories to humans, you're teaching models how to retell that story at scale in milliseconds across every ad slot, feed, and search bar. And if you're not intentional about that, the model will fill in the blanks for you, which is how B2B SaaS ends up looking like gym leggings or why your PLG tool gets served to teenagers watching prank videos, which you obviously don't want. So, what can you do? First, start off by reviewing your ad creative, like you're inspecting training data. Would this tell a model what you want it to do? Unify your product messaging across your assets. That might include assets that you don't necessarily own, but that brand unification and messaging is going to be really important for future model training. And think in examples, not just explanations, because that's how models learn. They show usage, emotion, and benefit. They don't just tell. So, TLDR, ads are now semantic, not static. You're not choosing your audience, you're training the model to choose it. And every campaign, every creative asset is part of your training loop. A great product marketers will win because they understand narrative and structure.